Internal Revenue Service IRS tax news. Here's what tax professionals should do after a data theft or loss. My guess on what they're going to say: seek vengeance. Or maybe that's not a good idea. Possibly you could seek vengeance as part of a more comprehensive strategy. How about seek vengeance and hire the A-team? The A-team being really good at more comprehensive strategies, including seeking vengeance at this. Okay, let's see what the IRS has to say here. We got the IRS Tax Tip 2021-145, September 30th, 2021. If a tax pro or their firm is the victim of data or information theft, they must deal with it thoroughly and efficiently. A-team right there, right? No, A-team's not involved. The A-team's not involved. Here are some actions they should take immediately to help minimize damage and protect against future data and theft or losses. Contact the IRS and law enforcement. Now, you might want to think about this step as contacting the IRS and law enforcement as in part doing your due diligence and being transparent, even though you might be saying, hey, look, the damage has already been done. It's unlikely that possibly these actions might not be solving the damage immediately that has been done. In other words, it's not always likely that they're going to find the perpetrator. And even if they do find the perpetrator that has stolen the data has already been stolen. So you already have the client data that now is exposed, and they could be subject to data theft and so on. So you might be saying, well, what's the point at this point in time after the theft has already been occurred and after the data has already been leaked? You want to do your due diligence and show that you're transparent, being able to say, hey, look, I saw the problem. I took the action that I could at that point in time, noting that it may not have an impact on some of the things that are done. You can't really reverse the fact that the data has been stolen and the data is now out there in the environment at this point in time. But I've recognized that that is the problem, and I've contacted the law enforcement. You also want to let the law enforcement know so they can compile the data, and even if they don't catch that particular perpetrator, at least they can compile the data and be able to possibly use that to take action in the future. And of course, contacting the IRS itself may help you to then safeguard your particular clients, at least with regards to data theft related to the Internal Revenue Service. And then, of course, if anything comes back later on, you want to be able to say, hey, look, I'm not trying to cover this thing up. I saw that there's a data theft. I saw it's a problem. I saw that it's compromising the data of my clients, and I did everything I could at that point in time to take action, noting that I can't really reverse all the negative consequences that could be result at that point. That's kind of the idea I would think about. So in any case, the Internal Revenue Service, the tax preparers should report client data theft to their local Stakeholder Liaison. There's a link to the Stakeholder Liaison here. Stakeholder Liaison will notify IRS Criminal Investigation and others within the agency on the taxpayer's behalf. Speed is critical. If reported quickly, the IRS can take steps to block fraudulent returns in clients' names. So that's one place where you can say, hey, that's actually going to possibly do some good here, in that if the data is out there, especially in this current environment where filing fraudulent tax returns due to the fact that there's all this, refundable credits and stuff going out there is a big thing at this point in time, that type of fraud. And you might be able to safeguard against that type of fraud by basically letting the IRS know so that they can be looking out for those for particular clients. So the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, or the United States Secret Service, the USSS, the preparer should contact a local office of either the FBI or the USSS. There's links to those here. Local police. The taxpayer should contact police to file a report on the data breach. So these contacts, I would venture to say, are not really likely to really give you any particular relief, but they're part of that due diligence process and being transparent, I would think, because it's not really likely that these two will catch the perpetrator right away at that point in time. It's more likely possibly that they're going to be compiling data, but that's going to be, of course, important on their end to compile the data to do that, even if it doesn't relieve any of the problems on your end that have already taken place with regards to your data out there at this point in time. But again, it helps you to be kind of transparent and say, hey, look, I'm recognizing the problem and I filed the police report. I've done everything I can do. I've done my due diligence given the circumstances at that point. So contact states in which the tax professional prepares state returns. Any breach of professional information could have an adverse effect on the victim tax accounts with the states as well as the IRS. To help tax professionals find where to report data security incidents at the state level, the Federation of Tax Administrators has created a special page So if you want to think about what do you do for your particular state, you can go to the special page here. There's a link to that here. It has the state-by-state listings. The preparer should contact the state attorneys general. There's a link to that here for each state in which the tax professional prepares returns. Contact experts. Security expert. Tax preparers should consult an expert who can help determine the cause and scope of the breach, to stop the breach and to prevent further breaches from occurring. So at that point in time, again, you report it, you report what you can report to be transparent. And then the question, of course, is going to be, well, what can I do at this point in time? You want to know, okay, how big, what was the scope of the breach? You might not be able to know that for sure, but you can get an idea of what has been taken in terms of data. And then, of course, you can work with professionals to try to stop future problems in the future, and work with the professionals in order to set up your security system that's better, hopefully, so that you can stop the bad guys. So insurance company, the preparer should report the breach to their insurance company and check if the insurance policy covers data breach mitigation expenses. So you want to contact possibly the insurance company and say, if there's losses related to the data breach, is that going to be something covered? Federal Trade Commission, FTC, preparers and other businesses can go to the FTC for guidance. For more individualized guidance, preparers can contact the FTC at, there's an email address. There'll be a link to this in the description if you want that email address. Credit and Identity Theft Protection Agency. Certain states require that preparers offer credit monitoring and ID theft protection to victims of ID theft. Credit bureaus, preparers should notify them if there is a compromise and clients may seek their services. Contact clients. So obviously then, as part of being transparent, then you want to contact the client, which is probably, one of the most painful types of things, and say, someone, the data has been compromised and whatnot, and, that could result in your data being out there. You want to be on the lookout for any kind of identity theft type of activities, possibly things like filing a tax return or something like that. Let them know that you've taken the steps that you can at this point in time. You've contacted the Fed and whatnot, although the police report and the IRS and done all the steps you're supposed to do, although that's probably not going to relieve any of the problems to the clients at that point in time. And then you've taken the steps to upgrade your security and so what with your data to stop these people from doing that. And that's good. That would be the general contact with the client. So preparers should send individual letters to all victims to inform them of the breach, but they should work with law enforcement on when to send the letter. So, you want to make sure you do this in the right proper sequence of events in order to notify everything properly and do your due diligence along the list to get everything as transparent and done as best as possible. So there'll be a link to this in the description, and you can look at this in a bit more detail if you so choose.